Hello. So I am back in the UK. Something that if you told me... Do you remember when we had the streams of the... I don't know if they're even streams or videos. I think they were streams of Yes, Your Grace. You know? At the end of December 2020. If you'd have told me it's 1st, 2nd of June you'll be right back to where you started, I would have been very skeptical. But there also would have been a part of me that would have said, well, that's typical. So, I guess I wanted to make this for myself and for anybody else who may be struggling and maybe going through a bit of a time of it right now. I'm just making this right before my nightly Mass Effect therapy session. Oh, what to do. So, for those of you who've been very patient with me since I was in the United States, when I left for the US, I had every intention of keeping the channel going, of keeping things on a really even keel, making sure that everybody had exactly what they wanted and everyone was going to have a good time. And, you know, I had a PC made whilst I was over there. Within a few days, it was fantastic. But I had to throw everything I had into making that dream work. I had to throw everything I had into making sure that I was present and I was at the job I was at, and things were going to go well, and they were going well. To be honest with you, professionally, amazingly well. So as you guys may know, I was with a lady that I went to the United States with, and things haven't worked out. I'm sure a lot of you already gathered that. You know, things just didn't work out, and I will go into detail because, quite simply, it helps me to go into some detail and to just talk about the situation and what happened. So, essentially, I left on the 29th of December 2020. Things did not go as planned. My flight to London from Manchester was cancelled on the 29th, and so I missed my connecting flight to Chicago. There was a huge rigmarole at Heathrow, and then finally at about 10:30 at night, I settled down in a nice hotel room in Heathrow Airport, waiting for my replacement flight the next day, and everything went swimmingly the next day, and I made it to America, and things went well. You know, I met my wife-to-be. We stayed at a hotel the first couple of nights, and we had a really good time, and then went back to her place, her parents' place, and we stayed there. I got the PC, I got everything up and running, and, you know, and started student teaching. And things were going just swimmingly, really, 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 really well. There had been warning signs that not everything was working out, between us anyway. We would have little niggles every now and again, little arguments about stupid things. And I had warned her even before I went to the United States and said, look, the first couple of months of us being together are going to be hell. Because not only are we living with each other for the first time, you're living with anyone for the first time, and we're living in this small room in your parents' house. And their parents were amazing people. And they still are. They're really, really lovely people. And they love me. Go along like a house on fire. But I said, you know, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. And that's something you're just going to have to deal with. And she said, yeah, okay, I'll deal with it. And turns out she couldn't, really. And by the way, I'm not here to adjudicate blame. I'm not here to say that anyone is at fault. Essentially, you know, I honestly think that she made a mistake in ending things. She basically came to me in early April and said, "Look, this isn't working for me. This isn't what I wanted. Like this isn't working out how I wanted." And I said, give me a bit of time. Let's see if we can turn this around. And she gave it a week and said, "Nope, actually, this is now definitely not what I want. I know this isn't what I want." So there we go. And don't get me wrong, we both had faults. She was very overbearing. She was very control freak. She was very naggy without realizing it, and she could never have a fault. That was the other thing. She could never admit to any fault whatsoever. Now, that's not in a bitchy way. That was she genuinely didn't see what she'd done wrong when she had done something wrong. So say she would tell me to do something, other people would look at her and be like, "Do you want to frame that a little bit differently? Like that was a bit over the top. Leave the guy alone," sort of a thing. And I have a temper, right? So that would rile me up the wrong way, and then I get pissed off and get annoyed. And so we had these little moments. Like I'd say once every couple of weeks, we'd have a tiff. We'd have a quarrel, and we'd sit down, we'd talk about it. I'd end up apologizing, and everything was fine. She had me in couples therapy once, but the couples therapy consisted of me and her talking to her therapist, which didn't go very well, obviously, because that's her therapist. So when she told me in early April that she'd had this wasn't what she wanted, the first time round, I was shocked. The colour drained from my face, and I felt like the entire world was just being pulled down around me, like the walls were closing in, and everything was going away, and I'd failed at something else in life. For those of you who know me, I've had many stop-starts in my life. I tried to do many things. Most of them haven't worked out, and sometimes I wake up in the morning and wonder how the bloody hell I've got the strength to keep going, to just keep getting back up and trying things and punching away and trying when it's a devastating feeling. And then, funnily enough, the week after that was probably one of the best weeks we've ever had, because we literally just went for it and tried, and I felt like it was going really well. On a Thursday, we got our second COVID jabs, so I had the Friday off work, off school. I'd called in saying, "Hey, I got my second jab. That's it. I won't be in today." And that was in that was April the 9th, and that evening, that Friday evening, I said something to the tune of, I can't remember what it was. I think I'd said something to the tune of, are we back to normal, or are we getting there? Are we getting to where we need to be? To which she said, "I'm not there yet. I think I will be, but I can't guarantee anything, and I'm not going to guarantee anything because, that's just how things go. I'm really sorry." And I said, no, it's okay. And she left, and I went out for a beer with her dad, because we did that every Friday, but before he got home, I went downstairs and I sat downstairs in their living room, and there's an American flag that flies just outside the house, and like a part of the house, and it's getting really dark, and I looked outside and I saw it, and I just thought, I knew at that stage, even though she hadn't said anything. Sorry, I think you just caught my cough there. She hadn't said anything. But I knew it was finished. Deep down, I knew it was finished. And went out for a drink with her dad, tried to see that things weren't going to be finished and things like that, but I just felt that they were. And the very next morning, she got up and played on my PC, as she was wont to do, and then immediately saved, came off, sat on the bed, and told me it was finished. It was over. And I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. She left after that to go for a walk or to go do something, and her parents were out, and her sister was out, so it was just me in the house, in the room, surrounded by all of our stuff, you know, the pictures and things. And I swear to God, like, if you'd have given me a Switch... Now, I would never have the balls to harm myself. Like, it just wouldn't happen. But if you'd have given me a Switch, like a light switch, and you said to me, at that stage, at that moment, if you said to me, for a good hour, if you flick that switch, everybody forgets you ever existed, and you just disappear and you're gone, and you don't need to feel this anymore. I would have done it without a second thought in that hour. There's a good hour stretch there. You know, there's an hour where I'd messaged my family that I'm telling them I needed to talk, but they hadn't gotten back to me yet, because obviously I'm on US time. And this was at 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. In US time, so we're looking at like 7 or 8 in the morning UK time on a Saturday. So that was that. And then yeah, my mum called, you know, I explained to her what was going on, I broke down, and in a weird way, that's when the healing started. You know, her parents were devastated. Like, you know, her dad was absolutely beside himself, you know. We went out for a drink that night. We didn't know what was going to happen. You know, we didn't know, you know, whether she was going to come around or not. I was pretty certain she wasn't, you know. Yeah, we had a few beers and things went okay. And I watched WrestleMania that night, weirdly. And it was fine. And then, you know, for the next couple of weeks, because obviously I'm now stuck in America. I can't just come home. I've got studies to finish. So I lived in the same room with my now ex-fiance, you know, for 7 weeks. And I have to be honest when I say that was extremely hard. And things started to appear to me that weren't appearing to me when we were together. Let's put it that way. Things like, you know, we would talk and we would compromise on something. So let's say her and her mum and her sister were going to go to Disney World with her, or wherever it was in Florida, Universal Studios, wherever it was, just to get away in May. To which her dad said, "This is wholly inappropriate. She just ruined this guy's life, essentially. This is ridiculous. She doesn't get to go on holiday. She doesn't get a vacation out of this. That's stupid. No matter how rich we are, or how whatever, and that's ridiculous." Like, you know. And I said to her, "Look, I've got serious misgivings. That's a really bad look, you know. Like, how am I going to explain that to my folks, even though we're not together anymore? It's not your problem anymore, but that's still, it shows an alarming lack of empathy on your part." And she said, "No, that's fine. I completely get that. That's fine." That was in the evening. The very next morning, she starts asking me when I'm going to leave. And then starts hinting that if she doesn't go away with her mum that month, she'll be starting a new job in June, so she won't get to go out with her at all until then. And I just lost it and said, "You know what, go and do what the fuck you want. Because we always do this." I realised there and then that we always do this. And I've never realised this before. But like, we'll talk about things and we'll compromise, and then you'll steadily change them to be exactly what you want. And so we end up doing exactly what you wanted in the first place. You think I'm stupid. You know, and that happened on more than one occasion after that. We got along quite well, you know, after a few weeks anyway, we got along quite well, 1 or 2 weeks. Everything was fine. I actually, shouldn't be saying this, but I actually met someone else in that time. I won't go into that, but, you know, me and my father-in-law went out, and I met someone, and I was seeing her for a few weeks whilst I was in the United States. You know, I would call it a rebound, yeah, maybe, but you know, she was very, very hot, and that's where That's what I decided to do. And it was a crazy, crazy time. It was a crazy, crazy time, to say the least. And as the days came for me to leave, it became very weird in the house. Like no one was quite knowing how things were going to feel, how things were going to go. And the very day I left, the moment when me and her went out for, we'll put it this way, in my last 3 or 4 days, I said to her, hey, do you want to do something together before I go? Just to, do something together. Not as a couple, just, And she said, yeah, sure. And then when the day came, it was like, oh, well, I can't, can we do this tomorrow night? I said, yeah, sure. And she said, oh, no, I can't tomorrow night because I'm going out with my cousins tomorrow night. Okay. Well, that's the Wednesday. And I'm leaving on Thursday. Okay, so how about tomorrow? How about today, Tuesday? Oh, well, I can't today because I'm getting high with my sister tonight. So, okay. Yeah, we ended up going out for breakfast. We did end up going out the night before I left, and for like half an hour, and then went out for breakfast the day that I left. But when I left the house, we hugged. I didn't even look at her. I couldn't, and then just left the house with my stuff, and went to O'Hare International Airport, and the minute I left that house, I shit you not, the text from her went very cold, very matter of fact, 1 word, 2 word answers, just absolutely stoic, gone. And all the way through this process, she'd been saying, hey, I'm afraid I'm going to lose you when you go. You're my best friend, and I love you so much. I don't, And I would think, well, if you love me that much, why the fuck have you made this decision, I wouldn't say that, but obviously I'd think, what the hell. And, she was saying, oh, I really don't want to lose contact, and I really want to know you're doing okay, and, only if, you're good with that, only if you're able to do that. And I said, sure, I leave that with me. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, but leave it with me, and I will endeavour to be okay. Try to have you in my life. The second I left the house, as I just said, texting stopped. Every time I text her, I'd get 1 word, 2 word answers. Very to the point, very cold. And in the end, when I confronted her about it, I said, look, you said you wanted this, and I'm trying. Is this not what you want now? And she said, no, it isn't what I want now, actually. I'm just, I just want to move on. You're gone, so I just want to move on. And I said to her, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that you've done yet another complete U-turn. See you around. And that was it. That was the last time I spoke to her. That was 3 days ago now. And that was that. Funny enough, the picture that you're seeing there is me going to America on the flight. You can see the wing there. And this is a picture I took on a drive with my father-in-law. This is way after everything kicked off. In fact, it was the week before I came home. It was the Wednesday before I came home. So I was 7-8 days out from leaving and coming home at this stage. And you can just make out Chicago in the distance there. We'd driven to Indiana. Northern Indiana. So that's Lake Michigan. And where I was living is just to the right of the sun there. So maybe about, 3 or 4, couple of inches to the right. Lovely suburb. Very lovely place to live. So, I got the flight back and I got here and my family have been very good since I've been here. They've been great. I'm living, in my hometown. Got my own little space, got a nice room. I've got a nice space for my computer and things are gonna be okay. Things are gonna be just fine. Things are gonna be great. The sun's coming out. Not right now, it's quite cloudy. But the sun will come out. Has been. PC's here. Touch wood, everything's working. You know, I have my teaching qualifications. Everything's set up, ready to go. I'll be applying for jobs. I'm about to finish my masters, you know, and so I'm a very eligible person when it comes to employment and being a teacher. I'm gonna look on writing my book finally and getting that published, probably through Amazon, to be honest with you, because I just want to get it out there, to be honest with you. I just want to get something out there. There will be a Patreon on the channel to help out with, just to help me out with publishing costs and, you know, getting an illustrator and, you know, essentially keeping my head above water until I get a teaching job, because obviously I had to leave a teaching job to come home after everything went to shit. So that's where I am right now. I'm down, I'm not out. Very close. Or at least I was very close. And yeah. I've never gone through anything like that before in my life. And I hope to never go through anything like that again. But one thing I have shared before with my family, and that's if I can come back from this and somehow end up in a good job, you know, in a good place, there's not really anything in life that can scare me anymore. Because that was trauma. That was trauma in its purest form. And I feel like, you know, my entire heart, my entire mind was ripped into a million pieces. Now I'm starting to put it back together again. You know. So, moving onwards. No, 22 minutes into the video. Moving onwards. I like to talk about dating apps for a few minutes. So I came on, I went on to a few dating apps, not going to mention them, which ones they are, just in case you get sued. And all I can tell you guys is it's a jungle out there. The sheer amount of crazy people, women I mean, who are about at the moment. These, you know, women who demand things from you. Women who say, I've got 5 kids, but you need to convince me why you should go out with me. Why? You've got 5 kids. I haven't got any baggage. You need to convince me, not the other way around. Like, that's how little men value their time right now, is that, you know, there will be guys simping for women like that. It's ridiculous. I will do another video on this just to extend how it's going. I'm doing a bit of research right now. Research, quote unquote. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the whole scene's crazy. And I can only tell you that unless you have a very thick skin, a very good sense of yourself and confidence in yourself, and that's very robust, do not go on dating apps if you are a man. It is a thankless, joyless, cynical, terrible experience. And I can tell you that from the last time I was on them 2 years ago. But I will do a video on that going forwards. But essentially, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to clear that up, you know, before we go any further. You've all been very, very patient with me in allowing me to come to terms with making this video. I didn't want to make it whilst I was in the United States. I brought my Warhammer back with me, so there's that too. Everything that I wanted to bring back with me has survived the trip, essentially. So, that's all I have to say on that subject. I have literally exhausted what I wanted to say. You know, I think I've touched pretty much everything. Touched on pretty much everything. Again, Patreon will be up and running pretty soon. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. And I'll do another video when it is up and running. I am aghast that life has turned out this way. I've never been so sure of anything in my life than I was in marrying the lady I was with. Let me put it that way. And just let this be a lesson. If you're struggling, if you have lost someone, or if you've broken up with someone, or if things in life aren't quite going as well, please just understand that I know what you're going through. There's always someone who has it worse. And things will get better. Things will get better. You know, I can promise you that. Things will get better. That's all I have to say. I'll see you later.